Sponsored by Midland. Communication for every adventure. The industry leader in radio communication technology and innovation for over 50 years.
Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
Hi, my name is Phil from Waypoint Overland, and you're listening to Random Waypoints. All right, so here we go. Welcome to another episode of the Random Waypoints podcast. We'll be doing an episode every week, so like, share, and subscribe. And hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss an episode. Later in the show, we'll be answering a viewer's question, looking at some gear to enhance your experience in the outdoors, and we'll have another installment of a segment called Waypoints that deals with navigation and planning itineraries for the overland traveler. Also, I'll share another one of my random lists. You don't want to miss this one. But first, let's take a look at the news.
During this segment, we'll cover various topics with a connection to overlanding in some way. It could be land use news regarding the national parks or the Bureau of Land Management. We'll keep you up to date on any auto industry news when it pertains to relevant and potential overlanding vehicles. There will be camping and outdoor industry news, as well as photography and video, fishing, hiking, and on and on. Now, here's the news.
A new survey says younger two-wheeled riders more likely to ride electric. Riders of electric motorcycles and scooters continue to grow worldwide. The survey was done in the UK, but in my opinion, it closely mirrors what a poll in the US would reveal. According to BikeSure, riders said what they like about electric motorcycles was instant torque, cost, carbon footprint, quietness, and comparatively lightweight. 88.6% of survey respondents said they appreciate the opportunity to do less maintenance on electric bikes and/or scooters. Things riders didn't like was range, recharging times, engine sounds, difficulty of finding good used examples, ride quality, higher insurance costs, and not knowing how to service them if they do require maintenance. A greater percentage of younger riders surveyed are more excited about electric bikes and scooters as compared with older riders. You can check out the full results of the bike survey on the company's website. The 2022 Jeep Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer had their big reveals. Both will reach dealers this summer. The Jeep Wagoneer is priced at about $60 to $75K, and the Grand Wagoneer from $89K and cresting at $110K fully loaded. The Wagoneer family is entirely made up of full-size three-row SUVs, expanding the Jeep brand with its largest vehicles to date. These new models mark the return of the Wagoneer nameplate after 30 years out of the market. The original Wagoneer came out in 1962 as a 63 model and created a new segment by offering four-wheel drive with an automatic transmission and a wagon body. It seats up to 8, comes with a 5.7-liter V8 with a 48-volt hybrid system. It generates 392 horsepower and 404 foot-pounds of torque, and has an 8-speed automatic transmission that's operated with a rotary shifter. The Wagoneer is too big to earn the Trail Rated by Jeep designation that most other SUVs in the brand's lineup get. However, it's built on a modified version of the Ram 1500 body on-frame architecture with an independent front and rear suspension. There's two off-road modes, a 25-degree approach angle, 24-degree departure angle, and 22-degree breakover angle. This makes it one of the more capable full-size SUVs you can get. The optional Quadralift air suspension raises ground clearance to up to 10 inches, enough to ford water up to 24 inches deep. All Wagoneers and Grand Wagoneers will be built at the Warren, Michigan plant that also makes the Ram 1500. You can expect future variants that bolster on- and off-road capability, and future models with electrification, including a 4XC plug-in hybrid trim like that recently introduced on the Wrangler. Pocket Outdoor Media, the parent company to nearly 30 active living brands, has purchased Outside Magazine, Outside TV, Gaia GPS, Peloton Magazine, and Athlete Rig. Robin Thurston, CEO of the new Outside, said, "These brands make our new company the world's leading creator of active living content, experiences, travel, and services. We now deliver content to almost every home in America across every platform, screen, and device." Outside Magazine and Outside TV joined the Pocket Outdoor Media family, and going forward, they'll be known as Outside. Outside reaches 38 million people a month across all platforms. They published their first issue of Outside Magazine in 1977, and their stories have won awards in print, video, and film. All employees will receive job offers and no relocation will be required. Outside's Scott Parmalee says it's a marriage made in media heaven. Thurston made it clear that his company was much more than a traditional media entity. His vision is to build what he calls the Amazon Prime of active lifestyle, a connected, holistic ecosystem of resources for active lifestyle enthusiasts. Now it's time for Random Lists.
Random Lists is all about lists Waypoint Overland has created on an array of topics, such as top 5 national parks, top 10 trails in the United States, top 10 fill in the blank. I think you get it. Some lists will be pure fun, and others very informational. But they all will have a connection to overlanding in some way. We're very interested in hearing your suggestions for upcoming lists in the comments. Now, here's our random list.
My list this week is my top 10 apps I use for overland travel. These apps all have free versions, but most have subscription that gives you a lot more functionality. I'll mention when there is a subscription. I've chosen to use the subscription services of all these apps, and I like them enough to make my list. Number 1 is Google Maps, which is free. On February 8, 2005, Google Maps was first launched for desktop as a new solution to help people get from point A to point B. Today, Google Maps is used by more than 1 billion people all over the world every month. And I would say it's one of the biggest leaps forward in navigation since the GPS project was launched in the United States in 1973. It's made sure we never get lost again, which also frees us up to be more flexible and spontaneous in our travel plans. There's no longer a need to carry a bunch of guidebooks and brochures anymore. Anyone with a decent smartphone can get turn-by-turn instructions for free. And with Street View, you can virtually travel the roads and streets of your journey. And most of the apps on this list have Google Maps integration of some sort. So I think that says a lot. At number 2, I have Gaia GPS, which has a subscription, and I recommend getting it. Gaia GPS was originally a tool for hikers, but quickly became a navigation staple of overlanders and backcountry travelers. I've been using Gaia for years now, and it's my second most used mapping app behind Google Maps. It has many mapping layers and topographic options that users can use to download maps, create waypoints, and share GPX files. It's a great experience using it with Apple CarPlay if you have a compatible radio. At number 3, I have Onyx Off-Road, which has a subscription also. Now, Onyx Off-Road app, it filters trails by your type of vehicle. You can find single track and 4x4 trails. You can tap on a trail for more information like closure dates, trail descriptions, and land management. The app also allows you to quickly and easily view public lands and boundaries on your phone, tablet, and computer. You have access to over 450,000 recreational points, such as campgrounds, dispersed campsites, Forest Service cabins, lookouts, and trailheads. All data syncs between your iPhone or Android tablet and computer. You just download the area map of where you want to off-road before heading out of service. Maps are stored on your phone or your tablet, and no service is required to view trails and add waypoints. You can navigate and track your trips even without service using your phone or tablet's GPS. Now, I've been using this app more and more, and it has features that others don't. I can easily see this becoming my top choice with just a few updates. Now, at number 4, we have Garmin EarthMate, which requires a subscription to an inReach device. The EarthMate app only works effectively when used on one mobile device at a time, and paired with one inReach device. It has a digital atlas of the Earth with very accurate data for land areas around the entire world. In my use, it's been the most accurate of all the apps. It also has a detailed topo of North America. When I get conflicting info from my other apps, I always use EarthMate as the final decision maker. At number 5, I have iOverlander. iOverlander is a tool by and for overlanders, which enables its users to submit, amend, and find information and opinions primarily about places that are essential for the act of overlanding, and secondarily, non-essential places that are of interest to a significant group of overlanders. It's also almost completely volunteer, run by people who are usually living out of their vehicle in many parts of the world. The functionality is friendly for overlanders. It can be used and accessed in multiple ways and in multiple formats. I have at number 6, Campendium. It's a web app that seeks to help users search, review, preview, and even take a virtual visit to over 21,000 different campgrounds throughout the lower 48 and Alaska. I found some great campsites using this app. At number 7, I have Yelp. The Yelp mobile app publishes crowdsourced reviews about businesses. It also operates an online reservation service called Yelp Reservations. This is great when you're passing through a town and need food or services. You can read the reviews, look at images, and use that to help make a good decision. And now you can even arrange curb service for most things. At number 8, I have Reserve America. Reserve America is owned by Aspira, which provides online campsite reservations, license processing for federal, state, provincial, private, and local government parks, campgrounds, and conservation agencies in North America. It claims to be the number one access point for outdoor recreation, processing more than 3.5 million camping reservations per year, with more than 150,000 campsites available. I make reservations all across the country using this app. It can give you flexibility knowing you definitely have somewhere to camp on a long trip. At number 9, I have Funtrex. Funtrex offers custom designed map books and digital GPS maps that feature off-road trails that have been tested by experts. Their books differentiate between various trails based on difficulty, which are accompanied by detailed photos and turn-by-turn directions to make sure you don't tackle more than you can handle. Currently, Funtrex guides are available for Arizona, California, Colorado, and Utah, and their GPX files can easily be imported into other apps. At number 10, I have the Photographer's Ephemeris. The Photographer's Ephemeris helps you plan outdoor photography in natural light. It's a map-based sun, moon, and Milky Way calculator. Deciding on arrival and departure times is a big deal to me, so I need to determine sunrise and sunset for each place I go, which changes as I go through different time zones. I like to arrive slightly before sunrise or right before sunset to most places for the photographic opportunities. I use it to help me plan all my outdoor photography during my trips. I'm able to plan a shot in great detail before ever getting there. Now it's time for some viewer mail. I got a question over on Instagram asking me, what do I think of purchasing budget-friendly recovery boards? I don't really have a long answer to this one. I see absolutely no reason whatsoever to spend the astronomical prices that some companies are asking for recovery boards. Now, years ago, I went that route. I was so proud that everyone recognized my pretty recovery boards. And they worked great, got me out of some situations, and I was able to assist some other people. Then someone decided they liked them more than me and they borrowed them. I was about to start a trip the next week and I needed another 4 boards pretty bad. And the only boards that I could get shipped to me to my home in enough time were all budget-friendly boards. So I ordered 4. I used them just like my more expensive ones and had the same experience. They wore out after some hard use, so I purchased a whole new set of 4. I've bought 8 boards and spent in total about what I did for 2 of the more expensive ones, with no distinguishable differences in my experiences. And nobody is trying to steal the cheap ones. If they do, I won't stress like I did before. Now look, I'm all about aesthetic and love looking at pretty rigs. So I don't turn my nose up toward anyone's choices. But in my opinion, you just don't get any perceivable advantages spending more money. With that said, do some research, read reviews, and choose a pair that people have been happy with. I've been very happy over the years using X-Bull Recovery traction tracks. They've made improvements with every generation of the product. And I want to be clear, I have no affiliation with this company. I found them on Amazon.com, I ordered them, and I've never looked back. I'll leave a link in the description. Now it's time for Waypoints.
Waypoints. Waypoints will cover all aspects of navigation for the overland traveler. Navigation is the act or practicing of navigating, the method of determining position, course, and distance traveled.
I want to backtrack a little on our navigation segment. If this would be your first overland trip, I suggest planning a couple of short 2 to 3 day trips. I do this every year to iron out any issues and determine what my rig is capable of after any new upgrades and get comfortable with new gear. This also helps to determine what exact gear I need and what to toss. Now let's get more into making our route. You want to research and decide on areas that you want to see and do along the way, including priority stops like gas, markets, your vehicle's brand, service department, and anything else important to you along the way. Make sure to download all your trail maps, all your Google Maps, everything. That way cell service becomes a non-issue. Of course, no matter what, you want paper maps in case your device runs out of battery. Verifying if your rig can manage the trails to campsites you want to camp at, distance to closest gas station without running out of fuel in a second location as a backup. Make sure you have the proper permits in each state to be on the trails and where you're camping. And don't forget campfire permits if applicable. Account for closures and non-permitted areas that you should stay away from. Come up with a meal plan for your trips that considers you may not want to prepare a full-blown meal every time and that emergencies occur. Keep in mind that things don't always go as planned, whether it be a road closure, a stuck vehicle, medical emergency, or a busy area. Go prepared and have a backup plan. Make sure your vehicle is mechanically sound and at a minimum carrying the following: a basic recovery kit, recovery boards, basic mechanics toolkit, first aid kit, a deflator, and a good set of tires, including a full-size spare. And don't just carry these items. Make sure you know how to use them. I know there's some stress that comes with planning a thorough trip, but if you put in the effort, it'll all pay off. After all is said and done, overlanding is about the journey. So don't get caught up in the, I'll start once I have this, or I'll start when I have that. Get started now, and you'll collect all that stuff eventually over time. And you'll have a much better idea of exactly what you need. As we said last week, we'll be getting into how to use Google Maps, Gaia GPS, and Onyx Off-Road in your planning as well as along your journey. I spoke about adding waypoints, GPX files, and creating routes, but we never talked about how. So let's start with adding a waypoint and using coordinates to add a waypoint on each app. Then we'll import GPX files and create a route. There are many different apps, but I'll be focusing on the ones I primarily use, which are Google Maps, Gaia GPS, and Onyx Off-Road. So let's get started. So as you see here, this is my Google Map, and I have plenty of waypoints all over the place. They represent many different things. It could be a campsite, a hidden trail that's not on any maps. It could be a pizza joint. It could be the location for a big event that happens annually every year. It could be anything of significance that I want to notate on my map so that when I'm going across the country, I make sure to make note of it. So we said, we're not looking, we don't want to look at waypoints that are already there. We want to create one. So let's pick a state, and let's go with Chicago. So let's say we're in Chicago. And what is this here? This is a waypoint I already have. So let's say I'm in Chicago and I'm looking for sushi. And I don't care which one it is, I just want to make a waypoint. And the reason why I'm making a waypoint is because, so here we have the pho noodle place, right? And I'm going to, right next to it, make a waypoint. And you see how down below it opens up a little box, and I don't click on any of this. I click on the actual coordinates. And what happens is it converts that address into coordinates. And you have a choice of different coordinates. We're going to use the ones down here. And we're going to copy them. And while we're still here, this is how we make the waypoint for Google Maps. I can either, one, save the coordinates and make it one of these things here. You know, I have different lists that I've created. I can make it one of these, or now that I've copied it, I can go back to the actual establishment's name, and I can, for Google Maps, I can save it, and now it's saved, and it's now one of the waypoints on my map. But I also, if you remember, I just copied and pasted the waypoint, so I can take it over to my Gaia GPS map. I right-click, I paste, confirm the coordinates, and it immediately creates a waypoint in Gaia GPS. Now I can click on that, and it brings up a sidebar. So now I can edit this waypoint. I want to know what it is. It's food, so it's not a burger joint. So I want something representative of it. So usually for something like this, I'll use this. I'll use a fork and knife. So now it changes it to a fork and knife, and then I type in the name of the place. And if we have any notes, okay, and we added some notes, and at this point we can decide to click public, and what'll happen is this waypoint goes on to Gaia's basic map, that anybody, when they open it up, that waypoint will be there. Or maybe it's a secret spot that I've saved and I don't want you to know about this spot, or I just don't want to share. And you also have the option of map visibility or not, meaning will it show up on your map or not. So you can either go to your file and pull this up, or you can, like I always do, I always leave everything visible. So whenever I'm anywhere, everything pops up. So we're going to click save, and now it's a waypoint. And so we still have the coordinates copied and pasted. So we just go over to our Onyx Off-Road, and we practically do the same thing. We paste in the coordinates, and it takes us right to them. And now we go up here and click Add Waypoint. And just like over in Gaia GPS, now we fill it in. and it gives you a lot of the same types of choices. Some are a little different. Um, if this were a route or a trail, it would allow me to pick what type of vehicle I'm using, and it'll let me know if the route that I'm taking, I'm legal to take it. But like I said, we're just so we're gonna we're just gonna do that for right now. But there's a bunch of icons, and you can pick one. So that was the first thing we said, is we're gonna save waypoints. We saved waypoints in Google Maps, Gaia GPS, and Onyx Off-Road. Okay, now we want to move on to adding a GPX file. To me, adding a GPX file is even more important than adding the waypoint, because GPX files will contain waypoints, and oftentimes it will contain routes, which are what I'm really looking for, is routes on trails in places that I'm not familiar with. So let's start with adding a GPX. So where do we get a GPX file? Well, obviously someone can send you one. You can export them from different apps like Google Maps. But today we're going to make it real easy on you, because this is something I like to talk about, which is the Backcountry Discovery Route. This is their website. And I've told you about this before. They have put together tracks that traverse many states across the country. Here are some of them. I've taken the Washington Backcountry Discovery Route, the Idaho. I've done pretty much all of them. Some of them I haven't done the whole route, but I've at least touched down on some gravel along the route. Anyway, so let's go to routes. So let's go to the one I'm familiar with. So let's say you're looking for the Colorado Backcountry Discovery Route. And here you see it. Okay, but I want it on Gaia GPS. I don't want to, this is fiddly. See how fiddly that is? I want this route on my Gaia GPS so I can manipulate it any way I want without worrying about a thing. So what I do is I scroll down and I go to download GPS tracks. And then it's going to ask you to fill this out. So bear with me a second. Okay, and if you see here, after you fill that out, you have the choice of what route you want. And we want, so I could literally click on all of these at once and take them, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go just to the one that we wanted, which I forgot what we were looking for. I think it was Colorado. So for Colorado, I think I want to add New Mexico. And Arizona. And once we've filled it out and we've decided exactly what it is that we want, I want to add the Colorado connector too. Okay, so now we've filled out exactly what we want. You read the disclaimers. You make sure to let them know you're not a robot. Agree to the disclaimers. Submit. And now I just simply click the download. So let's click the download. Let's just go with one for now. All right, and we're going to save it. So now we have our GPX waypoint. And what we're going to do is, let's start with Gaia GPS. So we're going to add to Gaia GPS right now. This is how you add a waypoint. So you hit the little download button right here. It says import data. You click on that, select files. And then I click on the GPX file that I just saved, open. And then before it actually saves it, it lets you look at it and make sure that it's exactly what you wanted. And then you save it. And now I have that route on my map. Now, for Onyx GPS, we're going to take that same thing and we're going to click on My Content, and then we click on Import. Select. You go to your GPX file. Same exact thing. Save my content. Okay, it didn't allow me to because I already have it saved. And not only do I have it saved, but there seems to be a limit on how much you can save. And I have trails all over the United States saved, so I've reached my limit. I don't know if that's going to change. And if you're a person like me who saves the complete United States, which is a large amount, that may be an issue for you. And that's why I'm still stuck with the Gaia GPS, and I favor it over Onyx Off-Road is because I haven't found any limits as to how much I can download, export, import, or whatever on Gaia GPS. Now, there are features on Onyx Off-Road that I like over Gaia GPS, but I can't walk away because of the limitations that I just described. Okay, so now we have created GPX files. We've created waypoints. Let's create routes. So let's start with Gaia GPS. Alrighty, so let's see here. Let's go to Virginia. Why not? Now I'm going to change my layers so it's easier for me to see these roads. And I like the U.S. Forest Service map. And I also like to use the recreational sites map, because the recreational site map, what it'll do is sometimes it'll show you an interesting area to check out, but you didn't see any trails or routes to it. Okay, so we're in Virginia and we're looking for trails. I need to adjust this. There we go. And there's plenty of trails here. So this trail right here is a BDR trail. So let's work off of this trail and I want to create a route for me to exit off of this BDR route and take it and leave out and go to this campsite over here. So let's create that route. So what we do is we click on this wiggly line for create route, and we can choose the color of it. Well, let's make it purple. And if you have an idea of what you want to write, you write a name for it. The name of the camp is Steel Bridge Campground Route. Let's call it that. Okay, so let's start the trail. Okay, so first we'll make our first point right here where it connects to the BDR trail. And we start clicking on the route, and it should click into place. And let's see if it'll take me all the way over without. Sometimes it won't let you go that far and still make well, yep, it made the calculation and it took me to camp. So let's make it a little more accurate. There we go. So sometimes it doesn't automatically snap into place, and you will have to do some work. So let's save this, and let's go back and say that it didn't snap into the route that you want. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Edit. And see how it makes it live there? And then I'm going to go in, because if I did go, I actually do prefer to make a different route. So see how it turns into a hand? You take it and make it into a hand. And I'm making a waypoint here, and hopefully that'll... Nope. Okay, so this is a good example of what I'm saying. So you see how it won't snap anymore? So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to manually make it go where we need it to go. And all we got to do is just keep grabbing it with the hand and making it go where we want it to go. I could have made it snap a lot quicker, but I just wanted to make sure that you actually get as much of an example of what to do. And so you get it. So let's just save that. So let's go over to Onyx Off-Road. Sorry guys, but I got some bad news about these guys. Well, at this time, they don't have any way to create a track. I reached out to them, and I'll just give you a portion of what they said. If you're looking to plan a trip before heading out into the field, we suggest using the line distance tool, as we are currently working on a route planning tool. So let's create a route in Google Maps. So our first waypoint is pho noodles. The way you have to create a route here is you can't actually do it manually. But what you can do is you can start with a waypoint. Here we're going to use pho noodle. And we're going to click on directions. And for directions, we're going to, let's say, make it Overland Expo East. How about that? And it will give you several different routes, different mileage, different times. And you have at that point the option of clicking on some of these other things like avoid highway, which is something I use a lot. And it increases your travel time extensively, but it usually takes you through the areas that you really want to go to. Especially when you use the feature on a long distance journey. It'll take you through some beautiful places. So if you sometimes just want the computer to suggest for you, then do that. Now, let's take that off for a second to make this easier to explain to you. So here's the basic route that is suggested, right? Now, I could just go ahead and choose a route and mail it to myself or email it to myself, and it'll pop up on my phone or my tablet or wherever I'm using the Google app, and it will take me on the route that I chose. But we can do some manual work here too. So let's say I like this particular route, but I want to go through Louisville and make my way. So I simply just take that, and there you go. And I can manipulate the route like that as much as I want. However I want to go, I can make the route however I want. And it's not just like how I'm popping it onto major roads. I can, however I want to do it, any road that I can find, I can grab it and take it down that road. All right, next week we'll have part 2 on navigation apps. I'll go into using these apps in the field and how they can be used for more than following tracks or a route as you're navigating. Now it's time for taste tests.
Taste tests. Taste test is where we evaluate the taste of a food product, whether on its own or compared with other products. Some taste tests will be conducted blind, while others will focus on a particular brand or item.
This week's taste test is featuring coffee from Expedition Joe Coffee. Full disclosure, I know the guys over at Expedition Joe. As a matter of fact, if you go to their website, there's a photograph I took the day we met. We met on a mountain. We met in the Okanogan-Wenatchee National Forest near the Pacific Crest Trail. The memory is indelibly placed in my mind. I have certain bucket list images in my mind. Most of them, they require me being at the right place, at the right time, and knowing how to use my camera. Many of them could easily be done with some editing software. But my photography is like my overlanding. It's all about the journey. I don't just want the image, I want the story that goes with it. Anyway, I was headed down the mountain, and up ahead of me was a cowboy on the trail with his horse and a pack horse behind him. I couldn't believe it. I looked up, the sun was at the perfect angle to get a silhouette shot of him on his horse, and everything was perfect. Even him, he was dressed just how I always envisioned, and he looked like a real cowboy. And he was a real cowboy. So I politely told him that he held the fate of me getting this shot off of my bucket list. He graciously obliged, and that's my story. So, Expedition Joe is a small batch coffee roaster bringing you select grade premium coffee beans. Their goal is to create a superior cup of coffee that will revive and rejuvenate your spirits, whether you're at home or on the trail. They work with single origin and blended coffees. Whole bean or ground coffee is available. The available roasts are light, medium, medium dark, and dark. Now, I'm proud to say the photo I told you about on their website is where you also click to go to their adventures blog. This is where they track ongoing expeditions and adventures around the globe. They dedicate this part of their website to those people who step out and live their dreams and explore the incredible beauty and extreme terrains our planet has to offer. Even if you don't want any coffee, I suggest you go over there and get inspired. Well, I need a little inspiration, and I'm going to use this coffee to do it. So we're going to try these two, and in addition to trying the coffee, we're going to make some almond butter sandwiches with a little twist. You may have never heard of almond butter, so first we'll be introducing you to it. We'll be showing you two of the most popular brands, and we'll be showing you a not so normal sandwich that you've probably heard of before. So let's quit rambling and let's get started. All right, so I already started cutting up the bananas, and the first almond butter that we're going to use is the Justin's honey almond butter. This is probably the most famous, the most commonly known one. And what we're going to do is we're going to spread our butter on half of this. And we're going to grab our other butter, which is Barney's almond butter, smooth. And we're going to add it to this slice. So now we have 2 slices. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some royal figs. This is one of my favorites. I like figs, period. But this is one of my favorites. And we're going to add some to the other one. And now we're going to take our bananas. Generously add them to the sandwich. And then cut our sandwich. So this is our Barney's over here, and our Justin's here. So now we can start and try our coffee. Okay, so now we have our coffee made, and we have our almond butter sandwiches made. Here we have our Expedition Espresso, and here we have our Wrangler. So, again, full disclosure, I've had the Wrangler. I've had many of their coffees. Matter of fact, I'll get into that later about some of the other coffees that I've had, but I've had the Wrangler. I've never had the Espresso. So let's start with the Espresso. It's strong. That's the first thought that came to my mind. Not in a bad way, but this is definitely a pick-me-up. At least that's what it tastes like. It tastes like this has got some pep in its step, but I like it. And just so you know, last week I added just a little sugar and just a little cream and tried to make judgments about it. And that's not the way I drink my coffee. So I have more of a mixture of how I drink it, which is pure raw sugar, organic raw sugar. And for cream, I have, what do you call it? Vanilla cream. And I would definitely drink that. Now let's move on to the Wrangler. Well, before we go into the Wrangler, let's try the Barney's peanut butter. Now, don't forget, we got Justin's here and we got Barney's here. And they both have the figs. Again, this is something that I've had before. I don't think there's really anything special about this. The reason why I chose it is because I'm just trying to every week show you easy, quick little things that you can make when you're traveling. And it's not what you eat all the time. Maybe this is what you eat all the time, but I rarely see anybody making a peanut butter sandwich, let alone an almond butter sandwich, let alone an almond butter sandwich with fig preserves and bananas and taking the time to toast your bread. And all together, to make the sandwich, if you were only making one sandwich, it's a couple of minutes. The longest thing it takes to make is the toast, and that takes like a minute. You just, when I'm on the trail, I have one of these little metal, it's like a metal screen thing, and you lay it on top of your two burner, and you turn your fire down low, and it toasts your bread. And it takes like about a minute, depending upon how, I like mine kind of dark, so it takes a minute, but you can get a light toast in less than a minute. All right, I want to go to the Wrangler Reserve. Now, this is one of the regular coffees that I've drank. And when I say regular, it's not like I drink it every week, but I have bought more than one bag of this and I like it. And because I already know how it tastes, I doctored this one up a little different. This one has the organic raw sugar, but instead of the creamer that I used before, I used chocolate. So it's almost like a hot cocoa. Now let me tell you about it. It's a dark roast, but don't let that fool you. It doesn't have like, usually when it says dark roast, that's a sign that it's going to taste burnt, at least for me. When I hear dark, I hear it's going to be burnt. It's going to have that burnt flavor. Kind of like what people describe with Starbucks coffee. They people who don't like Starbucks coffee generally describe it as a burnt taste. Now, to me, I am a Starbucks fan, and I like that burnt taste, and I like the taste here. Let's try the Justin's almond butter. Now, this isn't a fair comparison because the other one is just creamy almond butter. The Justin's is almond butter mixed with honey. So it's just totally unfair, and I know I like it better because I eat both of them. The Justin's with the honey almond butter, that's a regular in my pantry at home and away from home. Depending upon how long my trip is, like let's say I'm taking a trip from Washington to Maine, I'll just throw a whole jar in here. And it holds really well. I don't even have to put it in the refrigerator, but I do after I open it. But I don't really think you have to, because I've made the mistake of not doing that before. And the only thing is that the oils come up faster. They're going to come up no matter what, but the oils come up a little faster, and you have to stir it back up. It's not a big deal. I actually preferred it because it was softer and it was easier to turn, whereas when you take it out of the refrigerator, it's a lot harder to turn. Now, the choices that I made to have the almond butter with the preserves and the bananas, I've been doing something like that all my life. Everyone's probably heard of the famous sandwich that Elvis Presley used to like. He liked it toast with grape jelly, peanut butter, bananas, and I believe bacon. I might be wrong about the bacon, but when I make them, I put bacon. I don't remember if I added the bacon or he liked the bacon too. Anyway, some variation of this has always been around. The only difference I've added to it is I've updated the jelly with a preserve, a good delicious preserve. This is made in France. It's called Saint Dalfort. It's the first time I ever actually read the name, but I get this all the time, and it's delicious. You can actually, as you're digging in, you see all of the figs, so you know you're getting something good, and it tastes good. It doesn't taste like a bunch of manufactured sugar. Other than the bread, everything is healthy. Bananas, fruits, nuts. I would also use this coffee if I was going to make an iced coffee, where I was going to make a flavored iced coffee, because this feels like shots of coffee. Now I want to talk about the actual company. I already told you I took a photo, and that's how I met them, and that's why I remember them and everything. But I had seen him before, but didn't realize it until I met him on the mountain. And then I started seeing him like at other events. I remember, I think later that year, I saw him at Overland Expo West and a few other places. So I met him, and then I started seeing him everywhere. And I didn't know that he had a coffee company till I saw him at the events. And found out that not only does he have coffee, but he focuses on providing coffee to overlanders. Another popular coffee that he makes, and I cannot remember the name right now, but if you Google a gentleman called Primal Outdoors, if you on here, you probably already know who Primal Outdoors is. He has a YouTube channel. He lives in Oregon. He's living the van life now. He used to drive a truck. And he has 2 coffees. And one was named after each of his dogs. One of his dogs actually passed away just recently. So one of the coffees is kind of like a memorial coffee. I don't know if that's going to keep going or what. But anyway, I was getting those coffees pretty regularly. I haven't gotten one in a while, but I used to get bags of those pretty regularly. And Method Coffee has like a lot of different choices. So far, and I know all their coffees are not good, but so far, sorry about that. So far, I've been pretty lucky, and each one I've liked. So thumbs up to the company. Now let me actually rate these 2. If I was going to say which one I'd give to somebody, I don't know anything about them. I don't know if they're a coffee person or not, whether this is their first cup or what. I'd give them this one. This is the safe one. It's a bold flavor. It's a tasty coffee. It's a safe coffee. It's not trying to do anything special. It's just trying to be good coffee that you drink and get a good perk from. This one, I would give this coffee to someone who I know drinks coffee. And if they said, it was like, man, I'm trying to wake up, this is the one I'd give them, because I know this is going to give them a little pep. if you have good coffee that you like, I want you to go in the description in the comments and let me know what those coffees are, because I would like to try them. Maybe I have tried them before, but if I haven't, I would like to know about them and try them, because I'm a coffee guy. I drink coffee. So I would love to know about more coffees. Also, just so you know, I have a bunch of interviews that I've got just stored up. I'm going to start releasing them. But the point I'm getting to is one of them is an interview with the owner of Expedition Joe. And we won't just be talking about coffee. It won't be like one of those interviews where I'm just helping him hawk his coffee. Because on here, yeah, I'm going to be interviewing people who have products and stuff like that, but I'm more interested in figuring out if you're a nice person. So, you know, a person I want to give my money to and buy your stuff. That's kind of more important to me than anything else at this point in my life. So almost every interview, yeah, we'll cover that person's product. So if you're interested in knowing what they have to say about their product, yeah, we're going to do that. But that's not my focus. I could care less about that. I want to know about them. Do you overland? Do you cook? Do you make coffee? What kind of rig you got? What do you like to eat? What's your dream rig? What's your dream place to go? I want to talk about overlanding. So if it's anybody out there that's on my list and we've talked about doing an interview and you're not prepared to talk about yourself and sell yourself, you better cancel your interview with me. But so far, everybody I've interviewed so far is somebody that I know. So they went perfect. I knew they were good people and we had good conversations. I'm finished drinking all of this of the Expedition. Now, I love a peanut butter sandwich. But if the reason why you haven't been making peanut butter sandwiches when you travel is because you just like, that's too plain, that's too boring, try almond butter. Trust me, try almond butter. It will revive you. I love almond butter. And it's the doorway to other almond products. Because once you taste almonds in another form other than just eating an almond, you realize how good they are. And then you start trying other things. Like, I drink regular milk, but I also have almond milk at home because I like the almond milk on certain things over regular milk. It's a unique taste and it's a delicious taste. So I talked earlier about the photograph that I took. And it's a big deal to me, not because I think it's the most beautiful photo in the world or anything like that, but it's something creative that I had in my mind that I needed everything to fall into place. It wasn't something where I could just go in a studio and get on a computer and if I got the photo, there would be a story. Where I saw him, I can't think of the name of it, but when you're taking this mountain, there's a tower all the way at the top. It's like a watchtower or something like that. And I've been going there like 4 or 5 times a year. It's in the state of Washington. It's only a few hours for me to get there, so it's no big deal. This is just like a beautiful place to get away from everybody, take a quick trail, and go home. So it was highly unlikely in my mind that a bucket list photo of mine would be taken there. But when I saw him, I almost lost my mind because when you look at the photo, I mean, it's real obvious. He's got that square jaw. His hat is tilted right. He's got what do they call it? A Wrangler shirt. It's like, it's the shirt and it's got like the pockets like that. He had on the Wranglers and the boots. His horse was dressed perfectly. The pack horse, the bags were nice and puffy, like he was on a nice long trip. And he was just moseying along. And then I drove, and I didn't want to scare his horses because he was riding his horses like right on the edge. Like they could have just took one step and fell off. I don't know why he was riding so close to the edge. But anyway, I pulled over, and then I walked up to him because I didn't want to scare the horses. And we talked, and he was like really cool. And he let me take his photo. And the point of me telling you that story is the story. It's the same as the journey. The journey is the story. Everything that you do as far as overland, in my opinion, should be something to move the story along, move the journey along. Whether it be an event, whether it be a communication with someone you've never met before, whatever. But I just believe in trying to create stories. And when I say create, I don't mean faking it, but putting myself in the position so if it does happen, I'm there. And that was a very fulfilling situation for me. And I've had others. Well, okay, I was just checking something. Okay. So we're done, everybody. Right, that's the end of the show. That's what I was trying to avoid. I was trying to avoid the clock. I couldn't do it. Sorry about that. Well, that wraps up another episode of the podcast. We'll see you next week. And I hope you like, I hope you share, I hope you subscribe. So with that, everyone stay safe. I want you to tread lightly. And hopefully I'll see you here or on the trail soon.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Sponsored by Midland, communication for every adventure. The industry leader in radio communication technology and innovation for over 50 years.